Hi, it's Ben again. This is day 12 of my L5 S1 Microdiscectomy. I just wanted to check in and give an update. So, where to begin? I definitely have way more mobility in the back. Like that is really healing well. It seems. Getting up off the couch in the bed is much easier than it used to be. I don't need help anymore moving around at all. I highly suggest getting a grabber. These are great. It's like maybe 12, 18 bucks. I don't remember. But super handy, stronger than I thought. And it helps you pick things up off the ground because you can't bend, lean, or twist. Been watching a lot of movies. As far as my symptoms, so the weakness is really hard to track. I'm not really sure it's getting any better or worse, but you know, what is happening is in both legs I get small spasms. In both legs, sometimes I get tingly feelings. The left leg, though, like it's only ever like if I'm sitting funny. As soon as I like get up and stretch my legs for like 2 seconds, my left leg feels fine again, and that's my good leg. My right leg, I'm having interesting symptoms. So surrounding kind of the numb area and the weakness area, because they're kind of one and the same, I get anything from like ice cold sensation to hot sensation to tingly like electricity, like crawling ants around the edges of it sensation. And I looked up some stuff online, and technically, what seems confusing is that can happen if your nerves are healing or if they're getting worse. Like it could be spreading out or like closing in and healing. But in general, it seems to be the case that if you get like changing sensations in general, that's what you want. And luckily, I can say that that is the case. I don't know if this means that it will heal fully, but it is only day 12, so I'm going to remain patient. And, you know, I've heard things like either a millimeter or an inch a month. I think inch a month was more right, but I don't really know. It might, obviously it varies by person and maybe even your age. But, I read a couple articles, one on the New York Times, I think, of a woman whose son was slightly numb behind the knee. Not slightly numb. I mean, like it was actually like very numb, and apparently he couldn't move his foot, and it took like about 6 to 8 months before he started having like motion again, and eventually the numbness and the motor function totally returned. I've heard that it can take up to 3 years or longer, and these things can just be like healing for life at a very slow rate. I sort of hear conflicting things sometimes though, because I've heard that if it's not healed within 6 months or a year and a half, that you should consider the damage permanent. And I think that like that also like could be and can be true, especially with like a herniation like mine where it just kind of hit the nerve. Um, so I don't know exactly what to expect, but I hear acupuncture and PT and just trying to move the leg like every direction that it can, just helps the brain to make new pathways. Like I used to play drums and still do a bit, and there's a lot of muscle memory involved in that, and a lot of sports. And your nerves, I heard, I don't know if this is correct, that like they sprout out a little bit and like innervate your muscles a little better when you're trying to learn specific skills. So what I'm getting at is I think PT and generally trying to use the foot like continuously is like sending a message to my brain like, hey, like it would be really nice if we could move this way and do that and be this strong. And I think that constantly reminding my brain that like we need that functionality back gives my nervous system the best chance of regenerating. And I'm gonna have to do that forever until it gets better or not. But that's the case. Um, Anything else? I took another long walk, about like 3.6 miles, which ended up being sort of a bad idea. I think I rushed it. And what happened is, since I walk a little funny with a limp, the bad leg, like in that hip, started to hurt a little bit. And it has like a certain pain because I think when I finish taking a right step and my right leg is behind me, normally if you notice when you walk, like you the last thing you do is you step up on your toes before your foot comes off the ground to swing forward. And I don't really lift up on my toes anymore. And I think when you're on your toes, your calf is acting as a bit of a shock absorber for your hip in general and the knee. And since I'm just kind of kind of like leaning on my hip and just taking that step, I think I'm grinding my hip a little bit. So that was about 6 days ago or so before the weekend. It's what, Wednesday now? So it was like Friday, maybe Thursday. And the pain was generally gone within 2 days. So that's good. I can feel it a tiny bit sometimes when I walk around. So I'm just trying to make sure I don't do a lot of walking. At the moment, I'm gonna like rest that for now. I ordered a cane for a couple reasons. Like, worst case scenario, like I can't wear out this hip, and if nothing changes, I'm gonna need the cane to preserve it because I'm 29. But looking on the bright side, if it does heal, then what I want to do is preserve the hip while it's healing as much as possible. So I'm gonna try to feel out like how much I should be using it and how I should do that, because I don't want to atrophy too much from using the cane and relying on it, but I don't want to wear out the hip. So depending on social situations, I might just hang around, without a cane. But if we're taking a bit of a walk, I might bring it, that kind of thing. So I'm going to play around with that, let y'all know how it goes. It hasn't come in the mail yet. And I'm just looking around to see if there's anything else that's, yeah. One thing I'm just going to do this time, just for the hell of it, is I just find this fascinating. But I'm going to show you my foot. And so this is the leg that's affected, right? So I can move my foot up, I can go up, I can, I played drum set before my surgery and everything seems fine, just like my left foot. So it doesn't seem like there's a problem. But the real issue is, this is my left foot here. So I can like stand up on that toe, but this one, it just doesn't happen. I don't have the strength. I'm trying right now. But if I use both, I can cheat with the left and they both come up. But the thing that I find interesting is I can do every motion I'm supposed to, roughly. There's like a certain muscle kind of like going up the, right after the tendon, going straight up. That doesn't seem to be flexing. So I'm trying to figure out if the nerves are going to figure out how to make their way in there and like recommunicate with that area. But I need to be patient. So that's it for, I think, my day 12 update. Is there anything else? No, I don't think so. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll be in touch with how things are going. Thank you so much.